Welcome back to class. It's Dr. Fragel again. Today I'll be doing one thing I like doing most, and that is freestyle teaching. And I'm very much interested in this actually. Um, the topic of discussion is levels of grammatical analysis. As you can see, there's nothing on the board. I'm just going to explore English as much as I can. Now, when you want to build uh, something, you start from the foundation. The major reason why most of us have issues with English language is because we have faulty foundation. And one of my principles is to say that what shall the righteous do if the foundation is destroyed? He will always say the righteous will suffer. So I'm here to alleviate your suffering in the sense that we have issues with English, most of us do, and this issue can actually be aligned with the situation at which and with which we started our learning of this particular language that seems to be a tall order. Alright, so we will be going all the way down to part of speech, which is actually elementary. It seems quite elementary, but trust me, it is not. Because when we talk about levels of grammatical analysis, we'll be coming all the way from morphemes, and then we come to word, and then we come to group, and then we come to clause, and then we come to sentences. This is how the journey of English starts. Let me say this before I go on, that English is an intonational language. One of the major reasons why we have issues with English is because most of our indigenous languages are actually tonal in nature. That's because we tend to have words written the same way they are spoken. But in English language, it is not the same. So I will take this for granted because it is not very much needful for us to explore it. Nevertheless, I will just give it a surface value. So when we talk about morphemes, morphemes are the building blocks that make up words. Words are the building blocks that make up phrases, or what we call groups. And then phrases are the building blocks that make up clauses, and then the conglomeration of clauses gives us sentences. Alright, so that means if I want to be very good in my articulation of sentences, I will have to go all the way back to morpheme, get myself acquainted with words, get mastery of phrases, and have simplicity with clauses. Then I can ride easily with sentences. Alright, okay, so let's take these for instance. Morphemes are actually the smallest unit on the scale of grammatical analysis. Basically, you have a word like book. Book plus S gives us books. So books has two morphemes. Morpheme should not be confused with syllable. It is not syllable. Syllable is the breaking down of words according to bit structure. So, but this is independent. This is dependent. Like I said, I'm not interested in exploring this because it is actually not very needful for us here. So book is independent because we can always have book. We can always have book standing alone. But this is dependent on this to make meaning. Alright, that's basically what we call a morpheme. Now, as you can see, the combination of these two give us this word books. Right? So I will take this for granted, then I will move to words. When we come to words, we want to explore some things that are very, very important, and that is our part of speech, and that's where we come to word class. Words have their classes, and of course, that's what you know as the noun, the pronoun, the verb, the adverb, the adjective, the preposition, the conjunction, the interjection, and of course some people also add the articles. Well, I feel if you add the articles, you should also add the determinants. So this is optional, alright? So these are the 8 parts of speech we have. Trust me, your mastery of this part of speech will go a long way in ensuring that your English is impeccable. Now, Let me say this very quickly, and I will use this example to say it. Kunle, could you please man the gates? Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 words here. Now, we'll have to ascribe part of speech to all of this. So, Kunle, could you please man the gates? We have Kunle as our noun. We have could as our verb. We have you as our pronoun. We have please. Now, please can be a verb. But in this place, please is not functioning as a verb. It is functioning as an adverb. And then man, naturally man would have been a noun. But unfortunately for us, man is functioning here as a verb. And then this is our article, of course, and this is our noun. Now, what is my desire? My desire is to point out this man for us, that in English language, a word is not fixated to staying or remaining in a particular part of speech. So you can see man is a noun. Naturally, you check your dictionary, you see that now man is a noun. But here, we're asking only to guard the gates. So we're asking only to guard. Could you please man the gates? In the same sense, look at the word table. Table is, of course, a noun, right? That's the first thing. Table is a noun. That's the first thing we tend to say about table. However, table can be a verb. If I say something like, could you please table the issue before the committee? Table is functioning as a verb. Could you please table it? Could you please present it? Alright. Then what about a situation where I have tablespoon? What is my interest? Is it table or the spoon? This is what I'm talking about, but not just any kind of spoon. I'm talking about the tablespoon. So table is functioning here as an adjective. Can we see what I'm saying now? That a word can actually be a noun, it can be a verb, and of course it can be an adjective here, as you can see. So also, our exploration of the part of speech will be on the fact that we are not fixated, we are not rigid about them. We only want to explore them and have an understanding, and after which we are going to flow. And of course, to start with, we will be starting with the nouns. Alright, so let's see how far we can go with the noun. So there are a whole lot of definitions of nouns. People tend to say the noun is a name of any person, animal, place, or thing. Well, I think that there are a whole lot of things that are not encapsulated in that definition. For instance, there are things that are not persons, they are not places, they are not things, they are not places. The name of a person, animal, and they are not animals, and they are still a noun. So that means this definition is half-baked. So what is a noun? I tend to say that a noun is simply a naming word. Any word that can name at all is a noun. For instance, war is a noun. And as you can see, war is not a name of a person. War is not a name of a thing, nor a place, nor an animal. So war is a noun. It is a name of a thing. It's a name of something. It names something. There is war. There is what? There is war. So in as much as we can name it, it is a noun. Alright, and of course we have different kinds of nouns. We have, and this is where it's going to get interesting. We have what we call the proper noun. The proper noun, we have the common noun. We have the, okay, let me have this countable noun, because I'm interested in this. We have the uncountable noun. We have the, we have the abstract nouns. We have the concrete nouns, and then we have the collective nouns. Now, the proper noun and the common noun, they go hand in gloves, and then the countable noun and the uncountable noun are very much more opposite and synonyms and antonyms, and then the abstract and concrete also go together. What is the proper noun? What is the common noun? My definition is very simple. My definition is that all proper nouns are gotten from common nouns. The word common means general. The word proper means specific. For instance, you have a dog. Dog. Now let's see whether dog is going to be specific or general. So you have a dog, and then you happen to see 5 dogs playing outside, and your dog is one of them. And you want your dog to come in, or you want to give your dog food. Do you say, dog, 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 come? Will it answer you? No, it won't, because all of them are dogs. And yours is not an exception. You can't just walk into a class and say, girl, come. No, you have to mention the specific name of that girl. So what I'm trying to say is that dog is a common noun. It's the noun for any beast, 4-footed beast that barks. That's like the simplest definition I can give it. So dog is a common noun. However, when you now say bingo, that is a specific name. And that is what makes it a proper noun. And because of that, you tend to write it with a capital letter. That's why the definition of proper nouns are nouns that are written in capital letter. Usually, they are names of persons, the specific names of persons, the specific names of animals, the specific names of places. I stay in a country. I stay in a country. There's nothing so special about the country, but I stay in Nigeria. This is specific. This is proper. So you will not be confusing Nigeria with any other thing. So that's what we call proper noun and common noun. The names of persons, the names of animals, the names of places, the names of titles, like titles of books, are very proper and specific. All right, let's run. We'll come to common noun. The common nouns are, like I've said, general things, and that's why we write them in small letter. They're not written in capital letter. All right, countable nouns and uncountable nouns. I'm very much interested in countable and uncountable nouns because they tend to give us understanding of what to use when it comes to determinants. Countable nouns are things we can count, or things we count. Let me say they are things we count, while uncountable nouns are things we do not count. Not necessarily that we cannot count them. We can count some of them, but we decide not to count them. So, for instance, look at the word traffic. Traffic can be counted. Furniture can be counted. I jokingly say that it is actually possible, very much possible, for you to count beans. You can count rice, but do you ever count it? No, you never do. That's because it is non-count. It's not that it's not countable, but we just don't count it. So, words that are countable are not necessarily words that are only countable. They are words that we count. We can count the leaves on the tree, but we don't count them most of the time. Right? We can count the numbers of cars that make up the traffic on the road or a traffic jam, but we don't count them. You don't get down on your from your car and then start trekking or start strolling down to count the number of vehicles that have stampeded. You don't do that. So that's why we call them uncountable. We do not count them. Now, the reason why I said I'm interested in this is because the knowledge of countable and uncountable nouns is very important in determining what we use with them. Like I said, this class is an introductory class. I will still get into the deep issues here by and by. Determinants, there are some determinants you use with them. So for countable nouns, you tend to use words like many. You use many. So many houses, many people, many girls. But of course, you can also use some. But for uncountable, instead of using many, you use much. So if water, for instance, water is uncountable because you can't count water. You don't say many water. You don't say many salt. There's too many salt in the food. You say there's too much salt in the food. So you have many, you have, for uncountable, you have much. You can also say some for uncountable. Some of the milk has spilled. So you can say some can feature in the two, that's the point. But here, you tend to use few here, and you tend to use little here. I need a little water. You don't say I need a few water. Then few of the boys are gone. So there are a whole lot of them, but this is just the few I will be highlighting now. And by, when I come to explore more on this, like I said, this is an introductory class, so I will be diving into the heart of the matter. So that's about countable and uncountable now. We come to talk about abstracts and concrete nouns. Abstract nouns, the word abstract are things we cannot touch, and they are things we can only feel. We can't touch them, they are not physical. While concrete are things that we can touch and see. Alright, they appeal to our senses of sight and touch. So abstract nouns, of course, things like love, peace, joy, all of these things are abstract. Now, my interest here lies in the fact that, let me just take one example. You say something like, I forgot my book at home. I forgot my book. You cannot forget a concrete thing because book is concrete. So you cannot say I forgot my book. It is wrong to say I forgot my book. What you should have said is that I left my book at home. So you could leave your book, but you could not forget your book. You only forget abstract things. You leave concrete things. That's the point. However, when you now say I left my book, how are we sure that we will not be having confusion as to whether you left the book intentionally, deliberately, or you left the book unintentionally? It is that for us to be sure that you meant that, oh, it was a mistake that I left my book. You could have said, I forgot to take my book. Oh, it's a pity I left my book at home. We will understand from the word a pity that what you mean to say is that the leaving of the book was not intentional. It was not deliberate. Alright, so that's why forget goes with abstract and leave goes with concrete. Alright, then we come to collective very quickly. And in collective nouns, we explore words that go together. It's like a family name. You have keys. Okay, so when there are many, what do you call them? You call them bunch of keys. When you have ladies going together, what do you call them? You call them bevy of ladies. Bunch of bananas. You have fleets of cars. So all of these are examples. As little as the word club is, family, class, they are all collective now. The word congregation. Congregation are people in the church. Now, crowd, even mob. The mob are, when someone steals in the market, those people that gather around to beat or to deal with that person are called mob. All of these are what we call collective nouns. Like I said, we'll be exploring these by and by with time. I'm just interested in exploring the surface value of the word class. Thank you for your time. God bless.